So Code Review Committee meeting today, August the 1st, 2022. On the agenda is the proposal number 16, 2021. And this is about a vehicle inspection fee. I'm going to open the floor to Deputy Chief Curtis Bixby to explain the reason why we need this.
Good evening, Council. Thanks for having me here this evening. We're bringing this in front of the co-committee due to the City of Lawrence has always collected fees as it relates to vehicle VIN inspections. However, when we were looking at incorporating salvage titles, we've seen that the city didn't have an ordinance on the books, although it's governed by state statute, in which we charge $5 for the fee for vehicle inspection. Watercrafts are exempt by statute as well, where there is no fee for watercrafts that we do vehicle VIN inspections for. And so as we were looking through, because we didn't have anything specific to rebuild salvage titles or anything like that, that's when we had discovered that there wasn't one in the city ordinance, only a virtue of the state statute. And so that's why we're coming to make sure this is incorporated into the ordinance as it relates to fees that are collected for vehicle inspections. We used to have someone on our reserve staff with the reserve police officer who used to do salvage titles, and he has since left about 10 or 15 years ago. No, not 15 years ago. I would say more like 10 years ago. He had left our department, in which now we have another reserve that just came on, who does salvage titles for the city of Southport, and now he's with our department. And so it's a special niche for somebody who has that expertise to do salvage vehicles, because a lot of the times the VINs are altered in multiple locations, in which he has to verify each one of those VINs that they match to any change or any change of parts to a vehicle. So he has expertise to do that, and so that's the reason why we looked at incorporating now the salvage title VIN inspection to our ordinance. So I wanted to see if you had any questions about that. I don't have a specific number of how many that we do a year, but we do our fair amount each year of vehicle inspections that we do. But as it relates to salvage titles, we do not do any at this moment, because we did not have an officer that had the expertise to do that.
Madam Chair, I'm going to ask a question in regards to the financials. $5, is that reasonable?
Yes,
seems
so
kind of low.
Well, $5 is set by the state,
Okay.
and so we can't go above that amount. So the state of Indiana only shows that $5 should be incorporated for VIN inspections.
Okay.
So that's why it was set at $5. Prior to that, we used to be able to do it for watercrafts, and then the state changed the statute in which we can't do it for watercrafts.
Madam Chair, if I may, do you have any idea from previously what that amount of revenue that we may raise from this fee could be? Just a guesstimate. I know that's 10 years is a long time ago.
Probably with incorporating salvage titles, I would just say probably only a couple thousand. And the only reason why, because we have a few dealerships that deal with salvage vehicles, or people who had vehicles that were involved in auto accidents where the title company or the insurance company has deemed it, a total loss, where they would try to get the vehicle back, and then we would actually do the salvage title just to make sure that there weren't any additional altered parts on the vehicle as well.
Madam Chair, thanks, Officer Bigsby. I was going to ask, maybe you could give a little bit of a background on what salvage titles, why they're needed, and what, law enforcement effort that relates to.
Right, so typically on a vehicle, I believe there's up to 16 or 17 different VIN numbers that are attached to a vehicle that you don't see. You only see the one in your door, or you'll see it on, the front cover panel underneath your hood. However, there's VIN numbers attached like to the frame. So if there's a stolen vehicle, or if it's a chop shop or something like that, and we're looking at altered VIN numbers on a vehicle, we know that certain parts might be stolen, or it could have been used in the commission of a crime somewhere else. So that's why it takes somebody with the skill level to go through the vehicle, to make sure that all the parts match up to what the VIN should be, and if there is an altered VIN, that it's already recorded by the BMV, that they already have record of that. So we do see that in some cases where, you know, a chop shop or vehicles that are stolen in multiple crimes or something like that, or, you know, they take a part from one vehicle to change it or alter it. And then that's how we're able to discover that some of the VINs might not match up. And if they don't match up, then it should be recorded with the BMV.
Any more questions?
I have one. So this is primarily dealerships, or is this, Tom could go buy a salvage vehicle, then he's required to go to the station? Is this where this is going to be done?
So this officer is able to either go to the station, it depends on if it needs to be put on the lift or not. So like if you're changing the body frame, if he can't get really up underneath the vehicle, then it probably will need to be hoisted, and they will set up an appointment with him to say, hey, these are the days that we're going to be doing salvage title inspections, or not VIN inspections, because any officer could do a VIN inspection, but when it comes to salvage itself, depending on where that part is changed, then he will have to look at that and figure out what happened.
This is just to add salvage to the ordinance, not,
Well, it was never incorporated even on the VIN side of it, so
but we're talking just salvage vehicles. Or
so it's
this is
going to have
everything?
both. It's going to have both the regular VIN inspection and the salvage, because VIN was never put into the ordinance itself. It was only governed by state statute, in which when we looked at it to put VIN into the ordinance, that's when we found out that the regular VIN inspection wasn't even in the city ordinance.
So I'm just making sure that I can understand this to be able to explain it if I get asked. So I go up to Don Hines and buy a car, used car. They don't do the VIN, so I'm gonna have to come back into Lawrence, contact LPD, and then they're gonna have to do a VIN search.
It just depends, because some dealerships already have some of that paperwork filled out, some of them don't.
Okay,
And so when it requires them to have the vehicle inspection, so what we do typically is just, we write down the VIN number, we call it into dispatch. They'll let us know, hey, if it's negative or not, if it's not, or if it's stolen, we'll actually take possession immediately of that vehicle, because then now you have to deal with insurance companies, or you have to deal with whoever the rightful owner is of the vehicle. So sometimes the dealership has that paperwork, or if you buy it from individual to individual, the BMV is going to require you have a VIN inspection complete on the vehicle or trailer or mobile home.
so if the I'm sorry I'm asking these questions, but this is interesting to me. So if the BMV is requiring a VIN inspection, but we haven't been doing them,
We have. We've been doing the regular VIN inspection, but salvages we have
salvage.
not. Correct.
so let me then get to that piece. So I buy a salvage vehicle, and then I go to the BMV, which I've done in the past, my kids, cheap. I've never been asked to I've never had to bring anything up to the McCordsville branch asking for a VIN.
Yeah, sometimes it depends on if it's come from a dealership versus an individual. They will require a VIN inspection.
Okay.
And salvages, you're able, right now, you can go like to Indiana State Police, they have designated days where you can do salvage vehicle inspections. So at that time, we didn't have a need for it, because we already had one officer previously that did it. And then when he went away, state was doing it, but now we have an officer that can do it. And so that's why we wanted to make sure we incorporate it.
It's a reserve officer?
Yes.
Okay.
Any more questions?
One more. So that reserve officer, is he on the books?
He is, he's still in training, so he has some more training to do here. He just transferred from Southport Police Department, so he's still got to go through some of our training that we require here before he's able to be out on the street to be able to even do anything else within the department.
Okay, thanks.
Everybody's, any more questions? Hearing none. So taking this to the full council and giving them our recommendations on this.
Do we have a motion?
Do I have a motion to bring this before the full council in this salvage title?
I'll make a motion that we do a due pass for this ordinance proposal, number 16.
Second.
And voting, all in favor of this salvage title? Aye. Raise your hand. All in favor? Passes.
Thank you.
Common Council Code Review Committee meeting is now over. Thank you.